working to connect a region of over 600 cultural bridges between our lands.
Hello and welcome to ASEAN in Focus. I'm Nea Mangawa.
And I'm Kaloy Tabunda from the New Era University ASEAN Studies Center. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Actually, wala tayong guest ngayon, but
Yes.
we are here to talk about different things, particularly regarding my recent visit to Vladivostok, Russia.
Yes, for the Eastern Economic Forum. So what is this Eastern Economic Forum?
That's actually this is the 4th Eastern Economic Forum. This is a yearly event held in Vladivostok, wherein Russia, yung Vladivostok kasi is the capital of Far East Russia. Itong sentro ng kasi remember Russia is into two continents. You have Europe na nandun yung Moscow, and then you have the rest of Russia, which is nasa Asia, and the capital of that, the center of that is in Vladivostok. So Vladivostok is the city that is near yung other countries in the Far East. Nandito ang Japan, nandito ang Korea, North and South Korea, and then of course China. So since 4 years ago, they have been holding this Eastern Economic Forum, wherein they have invited investors, business people from different countries from this part of the region, opening Eastern Russia, Eastern Vladivostok and its surrounding areas as possible areas for investments and economic partnerships. Okay.
And you were there, sir, not just a delegate, but also one of the panelists of 3 sessions. It says your ASEAN Eurasian Economic Union Cooperation and Digitalizing Economy, the 21st Century Skills and STEM Education in the Age of the 4th Industrial Revolution and the Genetic Engineering.
Yes.
So first, sir, can we have the overview of the ASEAN-Russian dialogue relations?
Okay, actually yung ASEAN-Russia dialogue relations started way back July 1991. But before that, kasi 1991 kasi nahiwalay na yung Russia from the rest of the USSR. Of course, we saw the fall of the USSR in the dismemberment of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics in 1991. But before that, yung Philippines mismo, starting 1976, this was during the time of then President Marcos, we started diplomatic relationship with USSR. Tapos nang mawala ang USSR, 1991, that's the second phase of the diplomatic relationship, but this time between Philippines and Russia. And Russia na kasi wala na yung the rest of the USSR. And at the same time, the ASEAN and Russia dialogue partnership started same year, July 1991. Tapos, ang nag-signal ito, the attendance of then Deputy Prime Minister of the Russian Federation to the opening session of the 24th ASEAN Ministerial Meeting. So, nagkaroon na ng dialogue partnership, and subsequently, Russia became a full dialogue part of ASEAN noong 1996 dun sa Jakarta naman. So this is started, since then nagkaroon ng iba't ibang mga economic, diplomatic and other security and other partnerships.
Security partnership. Sir, how important are these cooperations with Russia? Not just for the ASEAN as a regional bloc, but for the individual countries, particularly the Philippines.
Mas malapit kasi ang Russia sa atin. Geographically, when you consider Vladivostok and the rest of Russia as part of Asia, we are nearer Russia than we are nearer the West. But unfortunately, because of ideological considerations, kaya medyo malayo sila. Ang sabi nga namin, I remember when I first attended the Eastern Economic Forum way back 3 years ago, ang naging takbo ng discussion namin is, for an ordinary Filipino, parang Russia is in another planet. So at least for the 3 times that, actually for the 4 times that I've been there, maraming mga impressions na nabago. And fortunately for us also, the New Era University, our partnership with the Moscow State Institute for International Relations, naging daan yun para tawag dito, yung maraming misconceptions ay mawala.
Yes.
So, doon namin nakita, warm din pala ang mga Russians, and they're really very open to establishing relationships with the rest of ASEAN, particularly including the Philippines.
Sir, you've mentioned na parang for most of the Filipinos, Russia is like
Yeah,
another
another planet.
But now na medyo nag-warm na yung ties between the Philippines and Russia, with our president going
Actually, we
there.
have to credit
visiting
President
there.
Duterte for that.
Yes. How are they really see the Philippines as a country?
Aminin na natin kasi medyo bago yung relasyon sa Pilipinas, ano? And they still see, let's admit it, they still see Philippines as very much viewing close, very close to the US. Pero talagang open sila, interesado sila na makipag-engage sa Philippines. We can see this last year during the third East Asia Economic Forum, also held in Vladivostok. This was last year. We had a session specifically for discussing yung strategic partnership between Russia and the Philippines. Talagang may separate session talaga. Nagkaroon kami ng different speakers from many Filipino speakers. I think there were 8 or 10 of us na ka-engage namin yung mga Russian counterparts natin, and we talk about how the relationship between Russia and the Philippines could be strengthened, kung possible ba. So, yun.
So how, sir?
Ang usapan namin is just open lang dapat. There should be an open communication, and we have to break down most of the barriers. Kasi unfortunately, marami talagang barriers brought about by yan. Vestiges of the Cold War. Tapos they still see Philippines as really talagang very close sa US. Kaya natutuwa sila na yung ating kasalukuyang presidente, si President Rodrigo Duterte, sinabi niya na we will establish a more, yung foreign policy natin will be more open. So kasama sa opening ng ating partnership is with Russia this time. So maganda yung naging resulta. Although we still have to see sa mga susunod na panahon kung hanggang saan patungo itong kooperasyon na ito sa Russia.
Sir, one of the focuses of your discussion regarding the economic relationship between Russia and ASEAN was digitalizing the economy, sir. How is this?
Okay. Yung kasing, there was a session there nang pinag-usapan yung, of course, digitalizing the economy, and among others, the topic that's assigned to me, the session where I was asked to speak on, was the state of digitalizing Philippine education. So, yun, nagkwento kami nung state ng ating Philippine education, at medyo hindi medyo shocked lang sila doon sa ibang mga sinabi natin. For example, we told them that it was only recently, about 4 years ago, na nag-K-12 tayo.
Yes.
Diba? Parang, what? Ngayon lang kami nag-K-12. Sabi nga, we're one of the last 3 countries in the world that adopted the K-12 program. Yung dalawa ay nasa Africa pa. So nagulo sila, bakit ngayon lang kayo nag-K-12? So anyway, there's so much catching up to do. That's one realization, that's one learning nila na may ganun tayo. And we really have to do many things to catch up. Kasi if we look at yung sistema ng ibang mga bansa, in particular, of course, the first world countries, the Western countries, and including Russia, digital na talaga, malaki na talaga yung role ng digitalization sa pagpapalaganap ng kanilang education. Sa atin, aminin na natin, medyo nahuhuli pa rin
Maybe
tayo.
Because of the internet speed here in the country.
Yun na nga ang lumabas sa usapan, ang Pilipino ang isa sa pinaka-connected na tao sa buong mundo, di ba? Halos lahat may naka-Facebook o naka-online. Pero isa tayo sa pinakamabagal ng internet speed. Sabi nga, at least we're faster than Afghanistan. Parang, nung kausap ko yung mga Ruso, what? Parang may ganun kayo. So, tapos, medyo mahal pa. Nasabi kong mahal at medyo mabagal kasi, I remember last year when I was in Russia, sa airport pa lang, sabi sa amin ng mga nandun, you should buy a Russian SIM card para natatawagan ka. So, bumili kami sa airport pa lang, I bought a Russian SIM card costing like equivalent to something like 300 pesos. Kasi mas mataas kasi ang value ng peso kaysa sa rubles. Lo and behold, yung more than 300 pesos na yon, gumana pati yung data the whole time that I was there in 4 or 5 days, and then hanggang pagdating sa Hong Kong, gumagana pa rin, naka-roaming pa rin ako, and I could still send messages to the internet, and that just for 300 something pesos. sa Pilipinas, hindi pwede yan, di ba? Maglo-load ka ng magkano? Parang 200 pesos. Mas swerte na kung makakapag-data ka sa loob ng kung isang linggo or ano. Tapos may roaming ka pa. So, ganun mo talaga makikita. Bukod sa napakabilis nung speed nung kanilang internet, doon mo makikita talagang we still have so much catching up to do. Sa infrastructure pa lang, yung ganong internet infrastructure talagang kulang na kulang tayo.
But I think the government is doing something to overcome this. Especially ngayon, na before magkasama yung transportation and communication.
Yes,
but
tapos
with the
DICT
creation
na
of the
yan,
DICT.
And they're opening up the market for a third player.
Yes.
Hindi na lang yung dalawa ang
kasi yung nangyayari talaga.
Hopefully, gaganda yung serbisyo at magmumura yung presyo. Ngayon, yung isang issue doon sa digitalizing Philippine education, one of the issues is yung the Philippine education infrastructure needs a lot of catching up to do. Unang-una, mahina yung ating internet speed. Tapos yung ang isang problema pa, kulang pa tayo sa mga, kasi pag sinabing digitalization, dapat may mga tablets yung mga estudyante, kumpleto ng computer sa school. Pero of course, ang consideration yung cost. Kaya ba natin? The Department of Education has established a roadmap for digitalization, and it requires malaking halaga talaga. Pero hopefully, nagsisimula sila at darating ang araw sana mapaganda natin yung takbo ng ating digitalization of our Philippine education.
Okay, sir. We'll continue discussing about how the Philippine educational system adjusts to the global digitalization.
And other topics.
And other topics when we come back. Welcome back to ASEAN in Focus. Before we go on a break, we're talking about how the Philippine educational system should adjust to the global digitalization, sir.
Okay. So, ang unang pag-uusapan siguro yung challenges, ito yung na-discuss natin sa kanila. Actually, I have to thank the DepEd people kasi sila yung sa kanila ako nakakuha ng ibang mga data na present doon sa Russia. There are several challenges identified that facing Philippine education when it comes to implementation of ICT, Information and Communication Technology. Unang-una, yun, maraming programs and projects that fell short of objectives. Hindi talaga na isasama yung digitalization sa mga programs and projects ng educational system. Huge backlog in school and classroom construction. Alam natin, kulang pa rin talaga yung mga schools, classrooms. Shortage of teachers with majority of them lacking familiarity with technology and the concept of innovative teaching. Paano ka nga naman magtuturo sa mga estudyante tungkol sa ICT kung ikaw mismo hindi ka marunong? So, kailangan ng training sa mga teachers. At hindi basta-basta, siyempre, it would involve cost, di ba? And of course, equipment. Hindi pwedeng yung okay, papakita mo itong computer, ganito itong keyboard, etc. Hindi ganun, dapat hands-on, di ba? Starting from the teachers themselves para maturo din nila sa mga pupils nila, sa mga estudyante. So, and then, ito yung pinag-uusapan natin kanina is slow connectivity and internet speed. Paano ka nga naman mag-digitalize kung napakabagal nung iyong computer? May tanong ka halimbawa, okay, i-google yung ganitong tanong, okay, tapos na yung klase, hindi pa hindi pa naglo-load, hindi pa lumalabas sa yung computer yung sagot sa katanungan mo. So these are the challenges that we really have to face.
Sir, you've mentioned about the lack of funds. Granting, for example, na may pondo tayo for all of these things. Will it be how do you call it? Sulit ba for the Philippines, for the students?
Yes. Actually, sulit. Merong dito, may ginawang study ang i-quote ko, the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy and Microsoft conducted a study way back, I think this is in 2016, yan.
Yes.
Study entitled Shared Prosperity and ICT Manifesto for the Philippines for 2016 and beyond. According to the study, a $1,000 investment, dati 47,000 pesos lang, ngayon 53 na. So, nagmahal. Ang isang $1,000 investment in a device could translate into an increase of $49,000 or 2.3 million pesos in an individual's lifelong learning potential. So, ang malaki yung magaganansya ng tao sa isang estudyante sa kanyang pag-aaral at magiging katumbas niya sa amin, lifelong learning increase of $49,000 or 2.3 million pesos para madagdagan yung kanyang kapasidad para maging mas productive, makapagtrabaho ng mas maganda, siguro makapagnegosyo. And sabi niya, it is, of course, a small price to pay when we reap the benefits of digitalization in the near future. Mag-i-invest tayo ngayon, of course, mahal yan kung sa pera natin yan. Pero yung magiging pakinabang yan, balang araw ay napakalaki. So, yun ang kailangan. That's one challenge that we have to face. That's one challenge that we have to address. Kailangan natin kailangan nating mag-invest yan. Although, of course, alam naman natin, the education sector still has the biggest share in our national budget, pero kulang pa rin. Okay.
So maybe next time, pag nagkaroon ng budget for the education sector, may incorporate na niya.
Actually, kasama siya. Ang DepEd, meron siyang tinatawag na Digital Transformation Framework Highlight or yung kanyang roadmap. So, meron siyang 4 areas where ICT can be applied. According to them, yung for teaching and learning. So, you will apply ICT in teaching and learning, in communication, in governance, planning and decision making, and in process and operation. So, anong mga kasama nito? So, among others, they would embark in a computerization program to provide schools with computer packages and IT equipment. Mahal nga lang ito. The Learning Resources Portal to provide digital educational materials. Tapos magkakaroon din sila ng learning action cells to improve educators' teaching and learning as well as to train them in information and communication technology. So this is for the training of the teachers who will teach the students. And then for high schools, meron silang tinatawag na Innovation Hub. Sa Science High Schools, yung ICT Innovation Hub to become centers for robotics and research and development. Actually, nakikita naman natin yung ating mga estudyante pag lumalaban sa ibang bansa, nananalo diba sa robotics. Pero ilang porsyento lang sila,
siguro
napakaliit na porsyento. Kaya ng mga estudyante, kaya lang kulang kasi ng equipment.
Slowly. Kasi even the other schools, gumagamit na rin talaga ng digital technology when it comes to teaching.
Maiinggit ka talaga sa, for example, we lived in America some time ago, nakita namin yung mga classrooms sila talagang may mga gamit talaga. Sana ganun din yung mangyari sa atin balang araw.
Maybe yung mga basic muna na mga kailangan natin, as you've mentioned, kulang pa ng classroom, kulang pa ng teachers. So, unless ma-solusyonan muna natin yung mga basic problems before we go into this kind of leap in terms of education.
Pero we need really funds for this. Medyo magastos nga lang. Pero sabi nga nung study ng Lee Kuan Yew, gagastos ka, pero malaking investment to para sa kinabukasan na rin ng ating bansa.
Sir, before we run out of time, can we talk about the genetic engineer? That's also one of the topics you discussed in Russia.
Actually, nagulat nga kami, pinasama kami doon sa isang ano na yun. Pero ang lang natin dito, ang learning namin doon, dapat, kasi isang issue to sa ibang bansa na is genetics engineering a boon to the economy or a bane to people's health.
Yes.
Ang sinasabi lang natin dito, mas ma-regulate dapat yung paggamit natin nung mga, lalong mga pagkain na genetically modified. Kasi sa Pilipinas, marami tayong mga pagkain na talagang genetically modified. For example, yung golden rice o yung super talong, na compared sa ibang bansa, napakahigpit ng kanilang regulation tungkol dyan. Ang learning lang namin dyan, kung i-adapt natin yan, dapat we should also adapt the safeguards being adopted by other countries na medyo mahigpit yung kanilang regulation.
So in other words, hindi pa medyo
sa
kaya ng
Pilipinas ay hindi
at this
masyado. Compared to other countries, napakahigpit nila pagdating sa paggamit ng mga genetically modified or mga pagkain na genetically modified. Kasi meron daw masamang epekto sa kalusugan. Pero sa atin naman, kaya natin ginagamit yan para matulungan ating gobyerno sa kanilang agricultural productivity para mas maraming pagkain na makakain ng mga Pilipino. Pero may mga risks yan.
Okay. Sir, on a lighter note, sir, can you share with us your experience in Vladivostok during the time that you were there attending the Eastern Economic Forum?
Ang Vladivostok ay, actually, the venue was in Ruski Island. It was some 45 to 1 hour by drive. Walang traffic. Napakaganda ng kanilang tulay. Vladivostok is actually the capital of Far Eastern, Primorsky Krai, Primorsky region in Russia. Pero siya yung pinakasentro ng East Russia. At dito yung tawag nila terminus. Dito nagsisimula yung Trans-Siberian Railways. At if you take the Trans-Siberian Railways from Vladivostok to Moscow, 9 days daw. Ganon kalaki ang Russia. At kaya ang mga Ruso, pag bumiyahe ng kalahating araw, wala yun sa kanila. Kasi sanay sila sa 9 na araw. And if you take the plane from Vladivostok to Moscow, 8 to 9 hours. Imagine, mas malapit pa yung Pilipinas from Vladivostok kaysa doon sa Moscow. Kaya talagang ino-open nila yung Vladivostok's economy and Vladivostok's culture to the rest of the Far East. Dito yung sentro ng Navy fleet ng Russia doon sa kanilang Far Eastern.
There were also exhibits and
concerts. There are many exhibits. Actually, tremendous, very wonderful, and very impressive exhibits. Pinapakita dito yung, ingit nga ako, yung talagang makikita na highly advanced yung kanilang technology. At ito yung kanilang ibinebenta para makipag-partnership sa iba't ibang mga investors coming from other countries. And you would see kanina may pinakita na tulay, meron siyang tinatawag na it holds a record for siguro one of the biggest suspension bridges sa buong mundo. Talo ang Golden Gate Bridge. Talagang mapapanganga ka. Bakit kaya walang ganito sa Pilipinas?
Sir, just before we say goodbye, for final words, sir, what are the learnings from Russia, from the Eastern Economic Forum that would be very beneficial for ASEAN and for the Philippines?
It's high time for the Philippines business people, our educators, policymakers to really engage Russia kasi napakaraming opportunities para sa ating edukasyon, para sa ating teknolohiya, yan yung infrastructure development if we could only adapt yung mga technologies nila na ginagawa. Kasi kailangan yung build ng ating Pangulo ngayon. Pero of course, it would involve cost. Pero walang masama kung i-consider natin ng Russian expertise, Russian technology para matulungan tayo. Remember, Russia isa one of the former 2 super great powers, kaya yung kanilang technology ay napakaganda at kailangan nating ma-adapt yung mga yun. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing with us those insights from Vladivostok, Russia. And that's it for today's ASEAN in Focus. I'm Nea Mangamang. I'm always one with 25.
And I'm Kaloy Tabunda, and I'm also one with 25.